one's working. See, they fixed it.
Let's get these here left to sign.
That was it.
Yep.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the June 15th Board of Selectmen meeting. First, I'd like to say that the meeting's being recorded and transmitted via cable television. And to start the meeting, like every meeting, we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item tonight, we're going to have an interview for a cultural council candidate, Barbara White. It's Barbara. Barbara, hi, how are you? Would you step up to the podium and introduce yourself and let the thousands of people at home that are watching
If you can see it tonight, all week, it's been so dim that you have to like get up on your TV screen and look at it.
We're not much to see.
I hope it's still like that tonight.
Hi, welcome.
Hi. My name is Barbara White. I have lived in Linfield for 5 years now. I have 2 children in the at the Huckleberry School, 2nd and 3rd grade. I am a freelance producer for a communications company. Been doing that for about 20 years.
Great.
So I'm excited to be a part of the Linfield Cultural Society and bring my experience to the council.
Great. I appreciate it. And thank you very much for volunteering. We appreciate new people coming forward, and the town runs on volunteers, and we very much appreciate the time and effort you put into it. So, but I've looked over your resume, and you certainly have some good skills, and I'm sure you can bring some of your background to the Cultural Council and benefit them. And you know, I really don't have that many questions for you. I'll open up to my board. Anybody have any questions? Tom?
No, we chatted earlier today for a few minutes, and I basically feel the same way. I think you'll bring a lot to the board. Your capabilities almost make me want to think you should be part of the Cablevision board. But just thank you very much for wanting to help out. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
I'd like my fellow selectmen, thank you for your desire. As Phil said, certainly this town is made up of volunteer and volunteer support. And just looking at your resume, I can see we have another fine person to volunteer their time. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
So I'll make a motion to approve Barbara White's appointment to the Cultural Council.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Good luck.
You thought it was going to be more hard-hitting? Is that what it was? Yeah. Our next interview will be for the Board of Health candidate, Dr. Rocco Iocco. Hi, how are you?
Very well.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. As you said, my name's Dr. Rocco Iocco. I've lived in town for 13 years. I've maintained a dental practice for 27. Have a background in microbiology, obviously, as well as dentistry. And I feel as though I'd like to give back to the town and volunteer for the open position on the Board of Health.
Well, again, I appreciate it. We, so everybody knows, we had a vacancy open up when Dr. Jameson retired, and Dr. Iocco immediately volunteered to give us his time and effort and his expertise for the Board of Health, so I appreciate it. And you certainly have the qualifications that we look for the Board of Health. And again, thank you for volunteering. It's commendable. So I'll open up to the board. And Tom?
Iocco, Dr. Iocco, thank you very much for volunteering. Known you for over 10 years. You've always, in that timeline, you've always been very professional and courteous.
Thank you.
Very helpful. I think you make a fine member of the board.
I'll try my hardest, certainly, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to serve the town.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that also, and I know it's big shoes to fill with Dr. Jameson. He's been dedicated, and I was so happy to see someone step right up
Certainly.
with the qualifications and certainly the background to fill that spot. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to approve Dr. Rocco Iocco to the Board of Health.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Dr. Yoko.
Next interview is Angelo Salamone for the Conservation Commission. Angelo.
Hello.
Welcome.
Angelo Salomone, 901 Summer Street. I've been a resident for 6 years, and I've had attended several meetings with the Concom. I think it's a good fit. It's what I like to do. I'm a builder, a carpenter of 36 years, and I think I can be helpful.
Great. Well, again, appreciate it. We don't get a big background on you here, but what's drawn you to the Concom piece of this?
I do a lot of it in my permitting process of building homes. I'm familiar with the regulations, and I've always had drawn to the interest of it.
Great. Well, thank you. Any questions, Tom?
Angelo Salamone, we were talking earlier today, and you explained you had a lot more dealings with conservation issues.
I have several
Which was
times.
I'm sorry?
I have several times and often in the building permit process.
Right, so it seemed that this would really be a good fit for you with your background and knowledge in the construction business, so I think you'd do a fine job on the board.
Thank you.
Chris?
Yeah, again, I concur with my fellow selectmen, and can't say it enough. I thank you for stepping forward and filling out one of these roles, and especially an important one on the Concom. They do a great job, and I hope you work towards another positive member to that board, so thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
I'll make a motion to approve Angelo Salamone to the Conservation Commission as an alternate, I'm sorry.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Welcome and thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Next item. We have the Life Board is here to talk about changing the bylaws for changing the minimum age requirement and the minimum residency requirement to get on the list for a unit over the three different life villages. Joe Maney. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. So also here is Fred Santangelo and Jack Adelson, members of our board. The other two members had conflicts and couldn't be here. As well as there are a couple of members from Essex Village here, just to give us moral support.
Sure.
And so the purpose of this is that we'd like to broaden our market because we have 3 unsold units at Colonial Village.
Mm-hmm.
And we now have a 4th where a lady passed away, so we sold that once, but now we have to resell it. And we have 388 people on our waiting list, and none of those people want to buy a unit at Colonial Village. We also, from time to time, have it takes a while to sell units at Center Village, mostly the second floor units. And so we feel that if we can broaden our market by reducing the age to buy and live in one of our units from 60 to 55, which is compatible with the town bylaw, which was changed several years ago from 60 to 55, and then also changing the period of time you have to be a resident of Linfield from 2 years to 1. And my understanding on the background of that, so it turns out that the number of years to live in Linfield is not in any of our documents. It's not in the resident deposit agreement or the bylaws or the unit occupancy agreement. It's in the application form to become a Class C member. So it was developed prior to my time on the board by the then board of directors, and it was, as I understand it, it was to make sure that people didn't just move into Linfield for a month, rent a place for a month, and then try to get on the list and buy something. We'd welcome that today, I think, if they actually did. But and so we think 2 years is not unreasonable, but 1 year is not unreasonable either. And at least it would people wouldn't be able to jump in, in a very, very short period of time and get on the list and buy a unit. So those are the reasons that we know you have to approve those for them to be effective. We approved them on a unanimous vote, 5-0 vote, and So we're just asking for your approval.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Joe, at Center Village, I know the concern there is getting people to buy the second floor because of the stairs.
Right.
How many units are available there now?
Typically 6 or 7, I think.
Six
I
to
think
seven.
that's what's available now, yeah. Either actually available or known to become available in the short
Yeah.
term.
And you currently have somewhere in the area of 400 people on the list?
388.
388?
Exactly, yeah.
And what's most of the requirements that they want, people
Well,
on the list?
Most of them like Essex Village. Essex Village first floor is by far the most popular.
Mhm.
And whenever we have a vacancy there, Dave Mayerson can fill it in a day.
Yep.
He knows who to call. In theory, he has to go through the whole list every time, but in practice, he knows that there are maybe 100 people like me, I'm on the list,
Mhm.
who have said in the past, don't call me, I'll call you if I change my mind, if I'm interested in a unit. And then other people have put down their preference as Center Village, first floor, Center Village, second floor, Essex, first to second, and now Colonial. So he knows who to contact for available units by their preference as stated to us.
Right. So your intention is to get possibly a younger demographic that might be more willing to take a second floor or at either unit?
Yes, right. I mean, one solution we have to the second floor at both Essex and Center Village is the people can buy a stair chair,
Mhm.
and some have. And, we're thinking, actually, we talked a little bit in the past about maybe the next time we raise the price, and we're thinking about doing that sometime in the near future, we would, again, with something you have to approve, but that we might put a provision in there that we would pay a part, or say a half of a stair chair if people wanted to buy the other half.
Right.
And we'd include that as part of the purchase price.
How much is the stair chair?
I think it's a few $1,000s, but I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I think they're about 4,000 or 5,000
Yeah.
for a stair chair. I've purchased one of those in the past. Now you're going from 60 to 55, and I know 55 is a normal, common number with other residential areas. Did you look at your list and see if you even dropped it 1 or 2 years, if it would make a difference to the people that are on the list?
No, we
No.
didn't. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's not the people on the list. You don't have to be. You can be any age to get on the list. So
I know.
So you don't have to be 60 or 55 even, but you have to be. Right now 60, and it would be 55 if we make that change to purchase a unit. So no, we haven't really looked at. But I imagine there are a lot of people. I mean, all we need is 3.
Well, I understand, but you look at it and you say, okay, you got almost 400 people on the list.
Right.
And there's got to be a good amount of those people between 55 and 60 right now, I would imagine, at least a chunk of them.
I would certainly some number, yeah.
And do they specify exactly what they want right now?
They do.
Yeah, so have you done any research to see if you dropped it down a couple of years instead of 5, whether you'd pick up the people you wanted to fill these units?
We have not.
Yeah,
no.
okay. So I was just wondering if that was a good way to tackle it, at least to take a look at it. I don't mind it dropping down. I'm just thinking, in the future, what effect is this going to have on residents that then want to get on the list? It's going to make a much longer list,
Right.
is what I'm looking at.
Indeed. So we were talking actually briefly out in the hall about, one thing, if we change it and we have too many people get on the list, you could always change it back. If you can
Yeah.
change it from 60 to 55, you can change it from 55 back to 60 or some other number. And it's something that we, given the situation, we would consider and asking for you for approval of that as well.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure about why you were asking for the residency so much. I think the age would make the difference all by itself. Residency, evidently, you don't even have it in your bylaws.
Right,
so-
but we have it in the application.
But you have it on your
yeah.
application.
And we bumped into 2 people recently who said, one lady said her parents who live in Medford would like to consider buying a unit.
Mhm.
No guarantee of that, but she has only lived here 1 year. So, I
Right.
mean, if that turned out to be a real prospect, then that 1 year would make a difference there.
Yeah, and those are the units that you're specifically talking about at Colonial?
That's right.
Yeah,
yeah.
one of the Colonial
Yep,
units.
yep.
Because I know you've gone through the whole list and
That's
everybody
right.
to try to sell those.
Yeah.
Well, I'll open up the board for questions. I think we might have a couple more throughout the night here.
The units that you've had on the list to be sold, these are the tougher ones to sell, right?
They are. So the way at Colonial Village in the apartment building, we have 36 units. The ones that sold first were the ones in the rear facing the golf course as opposed to the ones in the front facing the parking lot. And then then also the third floor unit sold first, and then the second floor, and then the first floor. So it turns out we have, of the 3 units, 2 of them are on the first floor in the middle. Oh, and then, of course, the end units sold out. They're bigger and more expensive, but they're bigger. And they sold out in a day. We have, there are only 12 of them. There were 12 townhouses. 12 townhouses sold out in the first day. The 12 end units sold out in the second day, back in October, whenever we did that. And then it's been months trying to sell the middle units. But and then the one-bedroom unit, we had nobody inquire about it until about a month ago. One person did and bought it, and it's a couple from Linfield, and they go to Florida for 8 months, and they just want a place to come back for 4 months in the summer. So it was ideal for them, and the price was right, and so we finally got somebody interested in that. So yeah, it's the front units and the first floor that are more difficult to sell. But
Well, what would you think about, instead of making a global change, that we make a change just for these tough units to sell? That we lower the requirements just for them, to keep them moving. Still, here's my concern, is that from reading all the life documents, it seemed that life was created for the benefit of Linfield residents.
right.
And it seems we're starting to drift away from that to fill the units. So instead of drifting too far away, what if we were to make a provision for just the tough units that don't readily sell, so that we could be a little more lenient with our rules and regulations, so that maybe the tougher units, we go with the lower age bracket and a lower number of years in town. However, the more desirable units, you need to meet the qualifications, so that, we try to give back to the people who have lived in town for many years. What about that as a middle ground?
Well, so how would we describe it? Would we say the
What if you just identify the specific units?
okay, we could do that. Or you could say all the front units in the building 7 are.
But it's just, I missed not the, but it's whether we change the age from 60 to 55, certainly we maintain the 2 years residency of Linfield. I mean, I still think that protects it for Linfield residents. And to me, 2 years to 1 year, I mean, someone moves in 2 years ago or a year ago. I mean, it's just another year, but it certainly increases the volume of people who might bring your elderly parents into the community. They
Right,
can
and
live here for 20, 30 years.
Right, that's what we're trying to do, and expand our market to get enough people to sell these last 3 units, and then the fourth one that we have to resell, and then the ones at Center Village, which take a while. So
Has the board thought about renting these units?
well, we brought the subject up once, but we don't want to be in the rental business, and it's not the main purpose of the. I mean, I guess if push came to shove, and we a long time went by and we couldn't sell these last 3 units, we'd have to think of something. We'd have to consider that, I suppose, as an alternative.
Well, you also got the issue at Center Village for selling the second floor.
Right.
I think that's more of what the lower age group accommodates. I think those middle units at Colonial are a higher price point, a much higher price point, and the view isn't going to get any better.
Right. They sell. Right. They sell for $328,000
Yeah.
roughly. Those 3 units, and then at Center Village, the 2 bedrooms there, $184, and the 1 bedroom, $150. So
Right. So less than half.
they're smaller too.
Yeah, I would suggest, I would like to have you go back and look at your list. I think that would be a good way to tackle it, from my viewpoint. I'd like to have you look at your list and look at it at going back 1 year, possibly 2 years at the most, and instead of broadening it for 5 years. Because I think the long-term effect of that is going to make a list that now you got 400, now all of a sudden we're going to have 600, 700 people because you've added a 5-year age group in there. I think it might be worth looking at what does 1 year do for you. You know, if you go back to 59 and you look down your list, is there a group of people there that could possibly fill these units? And then go back to maybe to 58 and come back with us with that information and see what effect that would have. And I think you'll probably find some buyers within that group. Because I knew some people that are in the 58, 59 age group that have said, geez, I wish I was a year or two older, I'd like to buy up at Colonial, you know? And those kind of things have happened. So I don't know if I don't think it's gonna be a useless endeavor to try it out. And I'm not trying to push you off on this, I just think it's worth looking at and seeing if that's gonna have an effect on your sales. Now what it does for Center Village, I'm not sure. You know, that's,
Right.
you know,
That's hard to tell.
I'm not sure what I mean, would 2 years make a difference? You know, for
Well,
somebody who
only-
wants a second floor?
Yeah, only time will tell. But I
Right.
mean, if you approved it down to 58 tonight,
Mm-hmm.
that would give us a running start, and we could you know, evaluate our list as well as look for new applicants coming in who would
Yeah.
go at the bottom of the list anyway right away. So they wouldn't jump ahead of anyone else who's on the list who would be interested in the unit. And
Yeah, I wouldn't-
That would be helpful.
It'd be helpful, and I think it would still give you the selling season to find somebody. 58, I'd be willing to do that. I'd still like to keep the residency at 2 years, though. I think there's a reason that you want to have, you know, people could come and rent a place for a year, and all of a sudden, their family members could all buy a place in town, where the intent was for people downsizing that have been Linfield residents for a while, so, you know, I think that's more of the intent of the whole life project. So, you know, I can, you know, Chris, you have a thought on it?
You know, I think it's more I mean, to me, it's 1 year. I think that's a small number. I think it's more of the reduction of that age limit to maybe 58, maybe even 57. So to kind of maybe move those units right now that have been, and how long have they been vacant?
Well, people moved in December.
Yeah.
The first people moved in December, so they've been vacant for 7 months, really.
So it's a pretty good amount of time to be vacant.
Where do you stand with your debt at this point?
We paid it off.
So it's paid in full. So
Right.
right now, there's no carrying costs on the,
No, except that the money that we have paid for these 3 units is not earning any money.
Right.
And that's about just under $1 million.
Who pays the monthly fees on the unsold units at Colonial?
Well, nobody. I mean, so we kind of, the organization itself.
The organization has to pay that?
Has to
You
contribute.
don't pass that on to the other unit owners,
No.
because it's already
No,
fixed?
no,
Right.
that's right. Because it's fixed. The monthly rate is fixed for this year and for next year.
What was the fourth unit that came back available? What type of unit was that?
It's a middle unit as well.
Another middle unit?
I'm trying to think if it might be a back unit. It is a back unit, though.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you assume that might sell first?
Right,
you know,
yeah, that's
resale.
206, and and then 207 is the front unit on the second floor, and then there's 103 and 109, I think. So they're the next to the end units on the first floor, on the front.
Okay. Well, I'd be willing to go to 58. I think it's a good starting point. It doesn't open up too big of a new group that get on the list, and it gives you some leeway to add some new people to your possible buyers. So if somebody would like to
Joe,
make a
one
comment?
more question. How many people on your list do you think, if you dropped it to 2 years, how quickly do you think you'd be able to sell these units?
Well, I mean, we have no basis to know whether anyone in that age bracket would be interested in buying a unit right now. We'd have to see, we'd advertise it. We'd have to advertise it in the weekly papers and notify everyone that we reduce the age and hope that the phone rings.
Well, you could come back to us in a month or two and let us know how you made out.
Right.
Yeah.
We would. If nothing happened, we'd come back probably and ask for the 55 again.
Right. But I imagine you're going to get some interest if you just drop it a couple
I
years.
think we might. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's.
Pat, do you have a question?
I'm on the list, but I haven't heard anything about I haven't had any communication, like an open house to show people the units. As a waiting list person, I would expect regular communication. And I read in the paper that 55 was the age. That came as rather a shock, because I didn't think that was the age. What is the actual age?
Well, the age now is 60, but the town bylaw is 55 for elderly housing.
We have 55 for elderly, but that unit's not.
Life was separate.
Right,
from
we
that.
were 60 at the beginning, and we haven't changed it yet.
Right.
Right, and I don't think it should be changed. I do think you should have more, how about some open houses up there? Is everything up at Market Street okay with the units? I've heard some rumors that maybe the construction isn't the greatest. I do imagine people, also I do imagine that people would want to wait and see what Market Street develops into. It's not finished. They might not want to live in an area where that's unfinished. That's, I think, been a problem from the very beginning. People, speaking for myself included, you don't want to buy something you've never seen. You don't want to buy something at a place where the development is incomplete. And I do think they need to continue to communicate with the waiting list people.
Joe, what kind of showings do you have on a regular basis? Do you have somebody looking at it weekly, typically?
We have people inquiring kind of on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
but then they except for that one bedroom one, and so a couple we've sold just recently.
And that one sold.
That one sold, yeah,
Yeah.
right. But and so we've advertised. There was a round of advertising that we had in the local papers just, I think, a month or so ago.
Mhm.
We advertised in the Lynn item for in their seniors pull-out section. We've done that twice. I think one of them, and then it's a senior pull-out section one day, and then it's 8 Wednesdays in a row after that in the senior section. And so, we don't, that's reaching an audience of 12,000 subscribers to the item, as well as 12,000 more people in the surrounding communities that they mail to.
Sure.
But our market in that area is very small, because if you're not 60 and you haven't lived in Lynnfield, or you're the parent or sibling of someone who's been in Lynnfield
Right.
for 2 years, then it doesn't apply to you. And so 99.9% of the people that see that aren't qualified, aren't eligible rather. So and so we've like I say, we have advertised in the local papers. When we advertise for vacancies at Center Village, we always include Colonial Village as well, where we have the vacancies. And when people call and they call Dave and they express an interest, he always says, "I'll take you down there if you like. I'll meet you down there." And so we show it to everyone who inquires.
Sure.
And as you know, last Sunday we had a meet and greet there. That was just for the residents that are there to get to know each other and to get to know.
Well, yeah, and I was invited to that, and it was a wonderful time. There was about 3 dozen residents that came to the meet and greet, and they were thrilled with the
I think
units.
it's
and
70
and
people
everything.
altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard a bad word from any resident about the place. They love it there, and the clubhouse is terrific. It's very well designed, and we've had a few minor problems with the air conditioning systems that had to be corrected, and with dryers, we have a problem there that needed to be fixed, but we get them fixed, and then the people are satisfied, and the quality of the construction, I think, is high. We don't. People have compared it. Just last week, somebody said that they lived in Arbor Point, those buildings next door, and they said they're terrible compared to the quality of our units. So, that's what they say anyway.
Joe, I also went to that meet and greet, and I was actually amazed by how many of the residents were there, and it was several dozen.
Yeah, we had 70 total, I think, people, including us.
And it was, I could just see on their faces how impressed they were with the construction, and how appreciative they were of your work, working with the contractor, and the other groups, Santangelo, yourself included, who really worked well. And it was the construction has been, I've heard nothing but glowing praise for it.
No, Jack, you want to add something? Did I see your hand? Oh, Fred, yeah.
I wanted to mention something with regards to Mrs. Campbell's concerns about Market Street. Yeah, we have some empty units, but there are 3 middle units. As Joe you might not have been here when he said it, the townhouses sold the first day they were on the market. All the end units at the apartment were sold on the second day. We're left with, out of 48 units, we're left with about 45 empty, three empty units out of 48. And it's our concern, the middle units are the toughest ones to sell. That's why we're proposing some of these changes, so that we can address that issue as well as some issues at Center Village with second floor units. As far as letting the people know, we had a Board of Governors meeting a couple of weeks ago for all of the residents and all of the units in all of the villages, and we discussed this with them, and nobody raised a huge concern about it. They thought that it was a good approach to try to resolve a problem that we're faced with. So I just wanted you to understand that.
I do think you need more outreach to those of us that are already on the list, and maybe even people that are waiting for Essex Village. Is there an outreach to those people?
Yeah, we have Dave Mayerson does.
I'm not getting any contact
What-
at all.
do you- have
I
you-
didn't know about a meet and greet.
Well,
I didn't know about a
No, that meet and greet was
I
for,
haven't seen the units.
meet and greet was for the residents at Market Street.
Why
So,
not open that up to other people?
well,
If
that,
if
it
you
was,
express yourself as being an interested possible buyer, you will
yeah.
continue to
Well,
stand with
if you
Well,
did,
at some time in the future, I've indicated I'm already on the list, so I've indicated that at some time in the future I am interested. I think you should continue to engage people like myself to get them interested. I've never seen any unit up there. I've only heard from people that live there.
you were certainly welcome to visit them and look
And
at them.
Why you're on television, why don't you tell people
What?
when Dave Meyerson is available to be contacted in person?
Go ahead, Joe. I don't know his
Yeah,
hours.
yeah, Dave works from 10 to 2 at Essex Village, and the phone number there is 781-334-6066. If you're interested in seeing a unit and might possibly want to buy one, call Dave, and he'll arrange for you to go there and look at a unit, and he'll graciously accept your down payment.
I think we may have sold the unit tonight.
Well, I think part of your problem is it obviously isn't just Colonial, it's the Center Village. And you always, and I know those have been empty for some time. And you've constantly had 5, 6, 7 units available on that second floor. And lowering the age group might certainly help that. And I think we should consider it. And, going 2 years down to 1, if you think that 1 year is gonna make a big difference, I'm not thrilled about it, but I'd be willing to do it to see if it'll help get those Colonial units sold, because like you said, you might have some new residents. We had, I think just at the Huckleberry School alone, we had 74 new families last year, so gives you an idea of how many new people are moving into town. So, I don't know what my board members feel about it, if somebody want to make a motion, or?
Yes, I mean,
I'd actually like to get some input from the people on your list to see at what age those units would move, because there's no sense in revisiting this twice. If you can move it with the captive audience that you have, then I think we should just vote once. So I'd like to delay this for one meeting, let you go through your list, or have Dave go through the list to determine, at what age with the list of people that you have, someone might be willing to step up to buy it. If not, then we may have to look at doing something more dramatic.
Well, we can do that. I guess you won't know who's interested in buying a list if they're 55, 56, 57 until you make the change and they come forward. I mean, you can find out how many people are in each of those age brackets.
Well, on your list, could someone maybe make 20 calls a day to see if someone might be interested, or send out a letter, something to try to determine where the real interest might be?
Well, we had talked, that's why I had said earlier in the night, that if you went down your list and you know what they already want, and you know their age, you could probably see without even having to call them. how many you got interested at the 59-year-old age group or the 58-year-old age group, in those age groups, and whether the potential is there to sell those, if they already are looking for that unit. And that's what we talked about at the beginning of the meeting, and, it's, like you said, they may not want to even commit to it or talk to you about it unless we actually make the change.
Well, I think sending a letter, I mean, there's 388 phone calls, there's a lot of phone calls, and it's hard to get people to answer the phone sometimes. But if we sent a letter asking them if we reduced the age from 60 down to any other number between 60 and 55, would you be more interested in purchasing a unit at Colonial Village or Center Village? We'll get a, we won't get a 100% response from that, but we'll get some response. And if
Joe, is that something, if we were to do something like that and then in July come back, is that a?
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, I guess I'd prefer reduce it to 58 now and then let us try and do that letter as well.
Yeah.
Is it possible to add just this one item onto the June 24th agenda? Could we all agree this way we could, is that enough of time for you to get this letter out, you think, Joe?
What is today's date is?
No, you
Really
don't have
quick.
enough time. You don't have enough time for that. Yeah, you don't have enough time for that.
No, this is the 16th.
That's much too quick.
No, it won't. We'll get the letter out within a day or two.
Right.
I'll write it when I go home tonight, and then Dave will type it tomorrow and mail it. But no, we won't get a decent. It'll take a couple of weeks at least to get some.
Well, I think what we're looking to do here is to see if we reduce that age, if we sell the units. So I think moving to reduce it to 58 and to look into it, maybe send a letter and inquire about maybe 57 or 56 is the magic age that we can see. But I think certainly your vote was unanimous with your board to move in that direction of reducing it to 55 to move these units.
It was unanimous amongst the residents.
And the residents. So I think, I'm more than willing to make a motion to reduce the age required to be eligible to purchase a unit in any of the villages from 50 to 60 to 58.
And what about the residency?
I think the residency for the 2 years, I think I'm comfortable with that as it currently stands. But I think to reduce the age and maybe revisit this when we send that letter out and to see the age requirements, take a look at it at that point. I don't think I'm comfortable with 2 years right now.
Yeah, we'll be happy to send a letter out right away to see. I mean, if you do that, then we might get some people that respond within that age bracket.
Well, that way, we could have you tentatively on our July meeting agenda to revisit it at that point and see what kind of response you've had.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that would be helpful for you. So the motion was to reduce it to 58, leave the residency at 2 years. We have a second?
No, I'd really rather see what the input is.
Okay. Well, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
Aye.
All right, Joe.
Okay, well, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I'll tentatively have you on the agenda for the 13th of July,
Okay,
which is our July meeting. We'll see what kind of, and you can still do the same process we're talking about. I'd like you to go through your list and see the 59s, the 58s. Do you have their current age on your list?
we do. We have their
Okay.
date of birth. yeah.
And you know what units they're looking for? So it would
We do,
seem
for
like
the
it'd be
most part, yeah.
it seems like you could do the search without even writing letters. You could have a good idea of who's looking for those units
Well,
now.
we'd have some idea, but it's nothing like asking the direct question.
Right, they may be may be willing to take another unit.
Right.
If you ask.
You're also unanimous in that the residence was to 55 years old. So I think we're looking at inquiring as anything below 58 to increase the clientele to purchase.
Right.
All right, Joe. We'll look at that time. Would you
Okay.
like to say something? Would you go up to the mic so they can hear you? Yeah. Please, thank you. And then just introduce yourself first.
Elizabeth Visco, 3 Cortlandt Lane. I've been a resident of Linfield for over 20 years. And listening to this lady here, it appears that people on the list don't know that units are available. So why wouldn't a letter be sent out just telling people that these units are available? Perhaps it's not the one that they specified, but they might be willing to purchase one just because the time is right for them.
Joe, can you answer that? Does the people on the list not know that units are available?
They know.
They know, yeah.
We advertise in the Linfield Villager and the Linfield
But not everybody reads the paper, sir.
I understand, no, I understand. Yeah, no, we.
I don't read the paper. I'm guilty, and I used to buy printing and advertising, so.
This letter will go out and will inform everybody of where we stand and what units are available, and ask them if they have a interest in buying any one of these.
Yeah.
Joe, does your office, does Dave Mayison's office, does someone call the people on the list as you go down it? How does that process work?
Yeah, Dave calls.
Yeah.
When we have a vacancy, he knows from having talked to people on the list, like out of the first 100 people on the list,
Mhm.
98 of them don't want to be called. They're on the list just in case.
Right.
I'm number 18. I've been on since 1992, and I never get called. I used to get called, but I said, don't call me anymore. I'm fine where I am, and I'm going to stay there probably. So, a lot of people like that. So, and then people put down first floor Essex Village or Center Village, so he knows who to call. And some people change their mind, but so we ask them from time to time when we do send letters out. We ask them if they make any changes to please let us know. And that doesn't happen that often. Sometimes it does.
Sure.
You think maybe a semi-annual letter, just giving people a general update that are on the list, that might inspire more sales?
I agree.
It's possible, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can see.
And it sounds like your list is about 400 people.
Right.
Yeah.
A general mailing like that would probably be less expensive than newspaper advertising also. It's just the postage and a one-page letter informing them that the units are available. If they're interested, you could give them a deadline in which to apply, even if it's not the one that they had specified they were interested in. You might find, maybe you'll sell a couple of units that way. Might get a response from them.
It's possible.
Because
I think the problem they have is the second floor units. People don't want the second floor units because
But
they don't want to
also,
walk upstairs.
I think when
That's been the
people,
issue.
but psychologically, when people get on a list and they're on a waiting list, they expect to be called. They expect not so much called by telephone, but to be informed that a unit is available and that they can bid on it or they can purchase it.
Yeah.
I think that's
From time to
the
time,
idea of a waiting list.
We've actually done that, sent out a letter, and then what we have to do is say that we pick a date, like a couple of weeks ahead, and say, respond by this date, and then the people will be called in the order in which they are on the list.
That's great. Yeah, that's perfect.
And that saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
I think also, as Mr. Sanchangelo said, they sold 45 out of 48, so that's pretty impressive right there. So certainly there was, yeah. But I mean, that's still, there's a pretty good movement there, and they're stuck at that 3.
It's still new.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to make a quick comment. I wasn't Angelo again.
Angelo.
I never made it as a comedian, but I'm 54 years old, and I'd sell my stairs in my house tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Age for old?
Most
55?
55 is the town's
It is.
point for senior housing. Well, for senior housing, they call it.
Just senior housing.
But it's no, I don't know.
I mean, AARP says 55.
I've met people that are 90 that aren't old.
But
Yeah.
down at the senior center, they've changed it from 55 to 65, and they're throwing people out if they're not old enough to be
Change
there.
it to 60, not 65.
60, right.
Yeah.
But the people who have been there for a couple of years, making moves and everything, have been not allowed to go in there because they're not 62. 60, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
But how can you just arbitrarily change a rule of age?
A rule of age?
You just did it tonight.
Tonight, and in the senior center, they're doing it for people who have worked or paid to go to classes there. Now we can't go because we're not old enough all of a sudden.
Well, life isn't elderly housing. It's a separate entity by itself.
The senior center isn't part of
The senior
The
center
town.
is. The senior center is, sure.
Yeah.
We're talking about, we're talking about 2 different things now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, we pay taxes for it, don't we?
Sure we do.
So now you can't go because you're not old enough. You were old enough 5 years ago. What is that?
Nothing to do with the senior center.
Maybe
so I
we'll
don't
talk
know.
about that on a different night. Okay.
Okay. Are we ready?
Unfortunately, I'm getting closer to
I
that
mean, all
age.
of a sudden, I got younger.
That's right. Okay, Joe?
Okay, thank
I
you.
appreciate
Yep.
Joe, thank you. Fred, Jack?
Question.
How old's old? Good question. Good question. Hey, Fred, how old's old?
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is the delegation to the Chief Procurement Officer to negotiate and award the contract for the OPM of the library building project based on the recommendation of the Library Building Committee. Russell Bolkenkroger, the chairman, and Nancy Ryan, the director of the library, are here. If you want to come up to the podium, please.
Yeah. Well, when they're coming up, Mr. Chairman, I'll just give you a quick rundown. Just based upon the timeline, normally the board would award this contract. Based upon the timeline for the library building committee, they can't wait to have someone. So when we look back at the charge for the building committee is actually charged with negotiating the contract.
Yep.
So what I'd actually be asking you is to delegate the chief procurement officer, which is me, to execute the contract on behalf of the board when they finish all their work.
Sure.
Because they can't wait to come back to a subsequent meeting of the board to award that contract and still meet all their timelines.
So when does this need to be awarded?
They're hoping by the end of the week, I think, aren't you?
Well, no, we're hoping to get selected by the end of the week. The respondent to the RFQ that we sent out, who we've chosen. And then we begin to talk with them and try to negotiate the best agreement for the town.
Sure.
And for what we're trying to accomplish with the library. And that when we met with Jim, trying to schedule a meeting with the Board of Selectmen to deal with this, it seemed pretty loopy to approach it that way. So Jim stated it exactly right, that if you would allow him, which he's going to execute the contract anyway, to take our input, and it's really coming from the trustees. Building committee makes a recommendation to the trustees to Jim. Anyway, that would have gone that way, but to have him be able to execute on that basis without having to come back to you. There is funding that's available from the state for a contract award, a grant that Nancy applied for, and that if there are additional monies, they will not be town monies, they will be library monies to begin with, either from the Friends or other monies that the town is looking after for the library.
So you're looking to have, our town administrator, obviously, you're going to negotiate
We'd like
the
to have this
contract.
done by the 10th of July is the
But
date.
I know you have a time frame
Mhm.
that you have to work with, and under your funding
Correct, that's right.
agreement had the deadlines.
That's right.
The funding's already in place,
The funding's in place.
no town money, it's
No
library
town
money.
Library
And,
money.
I don't see a problem with this at all. It's,
And-
we've done this
We've done it in
before.
the past, yeah.
We've done it in the past, it's a past practice, and.
When have we done this?
You actually did it on the Fields project. We had designated the town administrator to execute the contracts on behalf of the town.
And this is funding that's already in place, and the libraries has separate funds set aside if it's more than the state funding.
That's
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
But this is the state award that we're just,
State award.
that we're benefiting from with this action.
Right.
Now,
And we're-
the OPM, you had several candidates come forward for this?
Eight.
Eight
One
candidates?
was disqualified.
Yeah, we had
didn't
9 applicants.
Comply with, not live up to the application, and
Mm-hmm.
that we've evaluated the other 7, have shortlisted 3,
Mm-hmm.
and that if we have a problem there are 2 others that are highly qualified.
Sure.
We just did not want to go through the process of interviewing 5 companies, so we're boiling it down to 3.
So you get it down to 3, then do a final interview,
Yeah.
pick a preferred vendor and go with them?
And then go with that one.
Sure. All right.
And we're going to bound it in terms of the time period that we'd like to be able to come to grips with them and a contract.
Mhm.
We've heard horror stories from other libraries where it's taken 3 months to get a contract together that could be agreed to. So we're just going to say it's 10 days or we're done. And we'll go to the next one in line. So we feel we have qualified respondents in that respect, all with library experience.
Great.
How much is this contract approximately?
I think the grant is 30,
I applied for 50.
50.
Mhm.
And
Grant's 50.
what I asked for was 30 for the OPM and 20 for the architect. That's how I divided it up as far as the state grant was concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But we also had to match that locally with $25,000. So that's a total of 75.
Right.
So it could end up being 40,000 for the OPM and say 35 for the architect.
Okay.
They don't hold you to the actual funding that you put in the budget, because the amount of money that you put in for and what you have to pay for a number of years later can be quite different. And I based my assessments on talking at length with an architectural firm, and he was the one who gave me the cost, the OPM cost for $30,000.
What are you estimating the library to cost? The construction cost of it?
Well, that's why we're getting these,
That's what they're
getting this
supposed to
process done. We don't know.
Yeah, I know, that's gonna be tough. See, it depends on.
Nancy, can you come up to the podium? 'Cause I
Oh,
just- I
yes,
just,
certainly.
there's, you know,
Yes.
people that watching that can't
Nancy
hear you.
Ryan, Library Director. It depends on if we have a renovation on site or we do a new freestanding facility in a new location. So you're looking at probably 200 to 300 difference in square footage cost, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, square footage for new construction for a public building is upwards of $300 a square foot and more. So 24,000 square foot library, which is about what the new building would be if you built everything you wanted.
Everything we wanted,
You know, do the math, it gets expensive, and then the state reimburses a portion of that. I'm not sure. what
40 to 50,000 of eligible costs.
Percent, not
Project.
40 to 50.
I'm
Seven
sorry,
and a half million
40 to
times
50%.
40%,
Yes.
so you're still looking at, you know, a good piece that the town would have to pay.
You're still looking at $3.5 to $4 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, we have a long way to go in working with the architect, and that square footage, I would not be surprised if it goes down.
Okay. Any questions, Chris?
None other than Russ, you're doing a tremendous job through this process. It's a pretty quick process, and I'm most impressed.
We're trying. We have some very good people involved in the
Yeah.
committee. Thank you, Chris.
Outstanding,
And,
really an outstanding job.
Ted Caswell, who's a Capital Facilities Planning Committee, is on it, and Steve Tedesco, who is a top-notch architect who fortunately lives in Linfield and is providing great insights, and we're all learning very quickly on the fly. None of us have ever done anything quite like this
Yes.
before, so.
That's excellent. You got a good group of
Thank you.
guys. You got a good group of people.
So that none, this isn't gonna cost the town anything?
Anything.
No, and that's, do you remember when I appeared before the selectmen 2 years ago? I promised you it wouldn't cost you any money, and it still hasn't.
This portion.
This portion of it, yes. This portion of it,
We
yes.
we don't get the free library.
Beyond this portion, then the town will have to.
Yeah,
will have to
this is a
appropriate money. But
preliminary
at this point,
process.
the money's there.
And
So I
while
take
this
it-
will come up before, and you probably heard it, if there's a renovation, we would not be eligible for state funding. Zero state funding, because we don't meet the requirements in a variety of different ways with the present facility.
Primarily parking,
Yeah,
You can't provide enough parking to renovate a larger building.
exactly.
right.
Exactly, yeah. All right, well, I'll take a motion to delegate our chief procurement officer to negotiate and award the contract.
I'll make a motion to delegate the chief procurement officer to
Just be to
negotiate,
Just to
huh?
execute the contract.
to execute the contract for the library.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you
luck.
very much.
Good luck.
Thank you, good luck.
Go get us that cheap library.
Would like to.
Yeah.
Next item tonight is, thank you, Russ. Authorization to sell the borrowing in anticipation of notes to cover the cost for the center farm and the townwide fields project. Jim Boudreau.
Sure, these are, this is a bond anticipation note for 1 year. This is just to roll over some old debt. Also, it issue a little bit of new debt, just to get the money into us. It's broken down really into 3 parts. The biggest part is to roll over the $1,405,000 that we used to purchase the center farm. As the purchase price only, we're not borrowing the remainder that we have to do work on the building. We won't do that until we decide exactly what's gonna happen with the building. 822 is the balance of the Fields project, which is everything, not including the high school. We're getting some of those projects ready to go out to bid and doing some of that work this summer, so we'll need that money available. And the other is the $150,000 left over from the $1,147,000 from the 2002 capital plan that has been rolled over, and that needs to be rolled one more time. Obviously, something that small, you can't put it out to bond by itself, so it'll be rolled into the band, and then when we issue long-term debt later, it'll be rolled into that long-term debt. As you see from in front of you, the so-called coupon rate is 0.74%.
Yep.
The net interest charge is 0.4886%, and that was Century Bank. And our financial advisor, First Southwest, is recommending Century Bank and Trust Company be awarded the bands. And again, these are only for a year.
So the question I have is, we've had 2 votes so far regarding the center farm, and people seem to support is growing to keep it. With interest rates being as low as they are and pending increased interest rates in the near horizon, should we be looking for some longer-term financing for that?
Well, the discussion at town meeting was the town wanted 2 years to make a final determination as to what to do with the center farm. This brings your debt out to that second year. You can't permanently finance it and then sell it because they're interest tax-free notes. If you then turn around and sell it, you run into all kinds of problems with the IRS. So to issue the ban, basically we're acceding to the will of the residents to give them another year to make a final determination on the center farm. If we bond it permanently, we're making that decision for them and saying we're keeping the building because we won't be able to sell it at that point.
So now, let's say that we keep it, based upon this tax-free bonding and the rules according to the Internal Revenue Code. Are there any limitations that people should be thinking about as far as if we start renting it out and the financing?
As long as we keep
Are there limitations as to the earnings we can make on the property?
As long as we keep it, it's our building, then they go tax-free. If
And
we're
there's
going to
no-
sell it,
What if we were to rent it out?
I don't think there's any
Much
limitation
like
on
the
that,
meeting
Tom.
house.
You know, in my previous
If we're
life,
gonna generate
we have buildings we
revenue.
own. I mean, the revenue doesn't go to pay the bonds, and if we want to use it as some sort of revenue, as long as the town owns it, it still qualifies as the tax-free.
There might be some limitations to that.
We can look into it, none that I'm aware of.
I know with the fields, we don't have to worry about that with that debt. We're not
Yeah.
gonna rent it out to exceed that limitation. But something like this, if we were to look at a long-term debt, the monthly, the annual payments on this might be low enough that
Yeah.
we might be flirting with danger.
We can look at it next year. I'm not aware of any, but
Right.
we can look into it for next year. But to issue that debt now, you're making the decision for the town that we're going to keep that building, and I didn't think that's where the board was going at this point.
Plus, we'd automatically incur the cost that would be needed to renovate the house, if we're gonna make a long-term commitment to it.
Then we would be borrowing the additional, I think it's $144,000 to start doing some of the electrical work and the heating work that needs to be done over there.
Right, but based on the review from the appraiser, that there was gonna have to be considerable more work done to that house, that we had appropriated money for, so.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's why, we put it under the purview of the Capital Facilities Committee.
The work that we would do would be just really, I'll use the word stabilize. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the heating system's not in good shape, so we'd put a new heater in there. Would replace some of the wiring, probably the junction boxes and things like that. But if someone's going to buy it and move into it, it's going to need a lot more than that. As someone who's been through it. And I'll tell you, this almost the exact same house just sold recently in Knoll. I'm waiting to see what the price came out, but it was the same thing with the federal front, and then they added on the barn, and I'm just waiting to see what it sold for. They were asking for $1.9 million, so I'm curious to see what it comes out as. Same thing on the main street, and but this buys us the year. It rolls the other debt. We wouldn't issue the permanent debt on the rest of the fields until we actually spent all the money, and that again, that 150 is not enough to go out and bond by itself, so that'll have to wait for a larger bond offering. What'll get rolled in.
Good, all right, I'll take a motion to authorization of this, to sell the bands.
If I could, Chris, there's a section that says vote of the Board of Selectmen in your paperwork,
Yep.
and there's about 3 different motions in there, 4 different motions. I'll actually
What's
bring it up
this?
here. So just to keep the banks happy. Yeah, I'll just move those right down there. Read those.
So further voted, so it's 5 altogether.
Yeah, I move and then further move and further move, and just read those into the record so that we don't want any foul of the
Yep,
bond
go ahead.
council at some later point.
I have a question. Why could we
Hold on,
not?
go up to the mic, please.
I talk loud enough, so. Why could we not, well, first of all, are we definitely doing something with Center Farms?
We don't know yet. we're gonna let the Capital Facilities Committee work on if there's any other town uses or other uses where we would keep the property, or they're gonna look at that for another year.
Okay.
So at the end of the year, we'll know if there's any other uses for it. If not, we're gonna look again at selling it.
Well, say you cannot sell it. Why can't we use and move the library over there?
Because the intention of buying the farm was to preserve the farm. To make it a public
Yeah,
building.
but who's going to pay the taxes and the upkeep on it?
Well, there is no taxes. It's a town property.
Okay, somebody still has to
So
do
we'll
the
have to-
upkeep.
We'll pay the upkeep. Okay, so right now, the upkeep is basically heat. We're heating it in the winter. And so the intention was to preserve the building and keep the character of the town center. If you make it a public building, you have to renovate the building. You have to put in handicap access, you have to change the bathrooms,
yeah.
you have to change the floor, you have to change it in a manner that we were trying not to do. And we put preservation restrictions on it, so that didn't happen. So with those restrictions in place and to keep it in the character it is, the best use of it that we were told from the Capital Facilities Committee was to resell it as a single-family house, and somebody could live in it and
Right.
renovate it themselves. Now, to make it a public building, we'd have to change all the restrictions
Yeah.
and go to whole different route with it.
Well, say that they're going to renovate, obviously, the library, but they want to make it bigger. Well,
Right.
where is it going to go? There's a parking lot out back.
Well, they'll come back with us in a year and ask us about that. And
They're
then
looking at a whole-
The
whole
Capital
different
Facilities
thing, yeah.
Committee, that's what they're studying. We got a whole
Oh.
committee studying this.
Would it be in the center area, you think?
It would most likely be within,
Yeah.
it has to be within a mile of where it is now.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's what
There's no land left in Linfield. Everybody's
know, that's the
bringing
prob-
these
that's the problem.
big, huge homes.
That's the problem.
But I think with the center farm, though, certainly town meeting voted once to protect it, but we thought with certainly the deed
I
restrictions.
see people coming out of there. Are people
Yeah.
working in there when I go through the center towards Wakefield?
Well, we have people look at it and keep an eye on it.
Oh, all right,
We-
okay.
And our DPW workers make sure it's.
Oh, all right, I didn't
We
realize
have
that.
security in there and turned on and in place, so we make sure that's still working. We
Oh.
check the heat, we check electrical, we check,
Oh.
make sure everything's working.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you. I'll begin these motions.
Sure.
Move to approve the sale of a $2,377,971, 0.74% general obligation bond anticipation note, the note of the town dated June 19, 2015, and payable June 17, 2016, to Century Bank and Trust Company at par plus a premium of $5,945.
Got a second, Tom?
Second that motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Further move that in connection with the marketing and sale of the note, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated June 1, 2015, and a final official statement dated June 10, 2015, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted.
Second that motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Further move that the town treasurer, actually, I didn't say aye, I'll note my aye on that one, I apologize. Further move that the town treasurer and the Board of Selectmen be, and hereby are, authorized to execute and deliver a significant event disclosure undertaken in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such forms as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaken shall be incorporated by reference in the note for the benefit of the holders of the note from time to time.
Second that motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Further move that we authorize and direct the treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures in such form as the treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax exempt status of the notes.
Second that motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Further move that each member of the Board of Selectmen, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes.
Second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There are many documents to be signed. This first one is only for the clerk of the board, so that's for Chris to sign. It's a certification that that vote you just took has been taken. And the rest of them are for everybody.
The next item on our list tonight is going to be the reappointment of the election workers. We got a list of election officers that was current group.
So what is the purpose of this and also the wardens?
The election workers are the people who look at the election.
Mhm.
They sit at the tables and they check the
Can that be
ballots.
anybody or only these people on this list?
The list comes from the town clerk, it's at the recommendation of the town clerk. So anybody who'd want to be an election worker would have to see the town clerk and ask to be appointed. And then it comes to us.
Okay. And what about the warden?
The wardens basically oversee the election workers when they're at the polls,
Most
for lack of a better term, yeah. Yeah, so they're the ones, if there's questions on any particular water issue, they're in charge there. But anybody wishing to be an election worker comes to the town clerk and then comes over to us.
So this is a list that came from the clerk.
Correct.
I'm assuming a lot of these people have worked elections for years?
Yep.
So I would like, I'll just like to reappoint them as a group. We'll take a motion to reappoint the election officers as listed.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item will be the reappointment of our assistant plumbing and gas inspector.
Well, we have two things, actually. We have appointment of assistant plumbing and gas inspector and an assistant wiring inspector, and then the reappointments. These would be two additional people.
Yeah.
We currently only have one assistant plumbing inspector, so Jack Roberto was asked to appoint a second assistant so that we don't run into the situation we ran into with the wiring inspector last year, where we had to appoint a temporary one because someone was out of town. And he's also asked us to appoint the temporary wiring inspector as an assistant. That will give us 3 assistant wiring inspectors, but one of them really doesn't respond, so we'll actually have 2, and that just gives him the flexibility. If someone's on vacation or someone's not around, he always has someone that he can get hold of, so that we don't hold up contractors, most people don't hold up people who are trying to get their homes done, so.
This is no additional cost to the town.
No, they only get paid if they work, and their costs are covered through the cost of their inspection fees, so it's really
And
not
the second appointment would be for the gentleman that we had at emergency, did an emergency
Correct.
appointment during the.
Right, the
last
appointment
meeting.
of assistant wiring inspector will take that temporary guy and make him an assistant wiring inspector.
Sure, so it's just pre-done.
So,
All right. So I make a motion to appoint both the assistant plumbing and gas inspector and wiring inspector.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
and now the reappointments.
What are the names of the gentlemen in the appointed?
We have a Arthur M. Skinner Jr., and he's the wiring inspector, and Paul Flores is your plumbing and heating. So the next item is the reappointment, and they're part of this, the full list?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. The next item is the reappointment of all our public officials. And again, it's all our current department heads, clerks, assistants, health, Board of Health, chair. Most of these 3-year terms?
Also 1-year terms, unless otherwise noted.
So the ones that noted are 2 or 3?
Right, the
Okay.
two additions at town council is actually a 2-year term,
Mm-hmm.
and the finance committee is a 3-year term.
Okay.
Otherwise, unless noted, they're all 1-year terms.
All right. I take a motion to reappoint as listed.
I'd reappoint everybody except for Miss McCarthy,
Except for who?
the accountant, Julian McCarthy. I'm
make
happy
a-
to elaborate if we want to discuss it.
Can I make a opposing move? A motion?
Well, before we get into that, I'd like to ask our town administrator, there's a couple on here that I want to get clear as far as, now, our town accountant has a 2-year term for reappointment.
Correct.
Okay,
Under the charter.
under the charter, okay. But she has a 3-year contract.
Correct.
So she's under contract,
She's under contract.
okay,
For
so,
another year.
for another year. Anyways. So they're never gonna sync up. Obviously, unless we give her a 3-year term, but we can't under charter. You have to change the charter. Okay, I got you. All right.
So she's got a 1 year, but it would be 2-year appointments, or the,
So she's gonna be appointed for 2 years, but she's
But
still,
the
her
contract
current
runs through the
contract comes
first
up
year.
next year, right?
July 30th.
Yeah.
Right.
16.
So it makes no sense to leave her out. Do I have another motion?
yes, I move to appoint all of the candidates for reappointment on the list provided to us.
And I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
I have to oppose this. I've dealt with Julie quite a bit, And I must say, up until recently, she's starting to respond to requests in a more reasonable timeline. In the past, it would take months. Some of my requests went well beyond months. And there was a particular situation that is so disenchanting that I do not wish to discuss it in public. It's something that I think is totally embarrassing to the town.
If you wish to discuss her job performance or a particular issue, that would have to be an executive session. She would have to be notified and given 48 hours notice, so.
Okay.
So I'm not.
Just,
Next item, the summer meeting schedule.
Okay.
Did you take a vote?
We did. We
We
voted.
did,
We
yeah.
voted to reappoint everybody.
Was it a 2 to 1?
2 to 1.
1, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is there a performance evaluation for each of, and every one of these reappointees?
Your town
Is
administrator
there an
oversees
evaluation
them.
process? Performance evaluation?
they all vary, Mrs. Campbell, depending on whether they're in the union or whether they're not in the union, or whether they have a personal contract or they don't have a personal contract. So it varies according to individual. I'm still kind of feeling my way through that as to what the process is for each individual.
Well, I would think there would be a performance evaluation for anyone, whether they're under a contract or not.
Well,
I mean,
I'm just
for
saying that
example,
the,
in my field, teacher, there was a performance evaluation for teachers, and the principals conducted the evaluations. We were obviously under contract. For those that aren't under contract, there still should be, there should be a performance evaluation.
all I'm saying is that it varies depending on whether you're in a union contract, the personnel plan, or whether you have a personal contract. Each one has its own idiosyncrasies, for lack of a better term. So I'm still wending my way through that, who's who, what's what, and what the different evaluations are.
I'm very interested in that because my master's degree in 2002 was organizational development, and that was an essential part of my studies, performance evaluation.
Mhm.
So we need to get something, we need to get it in place. If you might reach out to other towns and see what they do.
Yeah, everybody varies, and I don't want to belabor it, but a lot of, in union contracts, people only get evaluated until they get to the top step, then there are no more evaluations. Some evaluate them all the time, some have no evaluations. It really is a
That's terrible.
catch as catch can, depending on the time, the town, the systems, and what's going on. So that's still on my list of things to work my way through.
It's like Ms. Campbell, certainly, being a teacher, certainly a tenured teacher has a different evaluation than a non-tenured teacher. So I think there's certainly different evaluations for public employees, union, and
Not
non.
necessarily. It depends on the school system.
Absolutely. It's every single system is different. Every public employee, non-union, union. It's certainly complex, and I have confidence that the town administrator is going to evaluate each individual in the correct way.
There should be a performance instruments that you can look at so that you know the manner in which they're being evaluated. It's a critical part of having excellent employees that are performing well. And I think dealing with the public, for example, I think that's a very important component, as it should be with teachers. How are you working to get parents involved? It's the same with administrators. Parental and community involvement should be an essential part of that. That was I was on the advisory committee of the Board of Education on parent community involvement. That's one of my favorite areas of evaluation. But I'm glad that I've mentioned it to you and brought it to your attention because it's very important.
Okay, we'll move
Have
on
to
to
have
the.
criteria.
Thank you. We'll move on to the summer meeting schedule. We have a July 13th date and August 17th date before we get into the fall and winter schedules. Are those dates work for everyone?
I'm okay with those three.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the September dates.
The September dates?
Right.
Okay.
As you recall, a few years ago when we both coincidentally were in Italy at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You guys didn't meet in Italy, did you?
No.
I'm going to be on vacation for both of those dates. I'm taking my wife away for a delayed anniversary. So I was hoping we could move up the September 14th date to prior to September 11th, and move the September 28th date to, I return September 30th at 7 o'clock, if the planes move correctly.
Isn't the timing on that one critical for the closing of the warrant, or does that give us a
That's
couple?
the issue there, and we
Yeah.
have to take a look at that.
Yeah, why don't we take
Closing of the
a,
warrant and Labor Day.
you got,
Labor Day is the 7th, right? That's the first Monday.
That's correct.
So that's kind of, that's
Could we
how,
do it, could we
so-
do it at the end of the week? Or could we do it a different day than Monday?
that's,
Would we be able to hold this? I could do the summer months, but
Yeah.
Tom, those September, but I appreciate, certainly I'll move them definitely on the
yeah, we
September.
can
Could
talk a
vote
little
on
bit
this
more. The
next-
reason you meet every other week, the first
Yeah.
Monday in September
Mhm.
that's available is the 14th, because the 7th is Labor Day, it's late this year.
Mhm.
So then the 14th, and 2 weeks later is the 28th.
this is the first Monday, obviously.
That is the first Monday that we
Right.
could meet.
Right.
You know, if the board wanted to meet the week of September 7th on a different night, you know, that's entirely up to the board when
I just
you
have to
meet.
check my schedule.
And as Bob said, would have to check the town meeting dates to see if that
Tom, you-
28th.
Town warrants, is that 2 weeks?
I don't want to go off the top of my head, because if you recall, this was a matter of some back and forth. And I do believe, according to the, if I can look at that, the charter does
It's usually 2
state.
weeks.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-week,
It's usually 2 weeks.
which means Monday night's too late.
Right.
Because if you do it 2 weeks prior, but you don't sign till Monday night, it's too late. So it really is a 3-week window. But
So what's the earliest before the 14th? You said the 11th, Tom?
I'm leaving the 11th,
You're leaving on the 11th, okay.
and I'm back the 30th
So
at night.
Leaving 9/11, back 9:30, okay. So we're looking at the 10th or earlier?
So, I mean, the board can meet on Tuesday, the 8th, if that worked, if it didn't conflict. And then, again, I don't know if we can accommodate Tom on the second meeting. We would just have to keep the agenda as light as possible, but we're going to have to look at the dates.
Well,
on
we
schedule.
have the right to phone in, right?
Yes, you do.
So we'll have,
You have, as long
have
as
a
the quorum,
Skype-
you have adopted those, as long as the quorum is present, then you can participate by phone.
does the
So-
board itself have to avail
First
itself
International.
the vote to say yes?
God knows what
That bill's
time
gonna
that'll
kill you.
be.
The
That
board has
bill's gonna
accepted
kill you.
the,
Does
yeah,
each board?
have to accept the provisions.
Yeah.
I would think if this board accepted the policy, then this board has accepted the fact that they'll do columns,
can
but
do
each
it
board has to set its own rules as to whether or not they'll allow it, but Bob and I have that side
Well, why don't we look at these on the 13th? The
Yeah,
13th and 17th are both fine. Our next meeting in July will be July 13th, and then we can,
Yeah, can we hold just
We'll
the annual
we'll
and?
hold it off and
Yep.
then to vote on.
Yeah,
I
Bob and I-
actually- I didn't even put that on the agenda, I just provided the whole list
Yeah.
because I knew people wanted to see how that would look. And that, after August, I don't think we can even act on the one September on because it's not on, although you can set the meeting dates without voting, actually.
Yeah, we don't.
But I only intended July and August for now.
Okay.
No, I think if we can make it work for Tom so that he could certainly.
So July and August
Thank you.
were
Right.
Yeah, I think the first one we can, the
We can
second one
definitely
we
make
gotta
it
see.
And after that, I'm flexible, so whatever.
I'll tell you what, I've gotta come back early. See how that goes over.
The next item on our agenda is the banner request from, is it Juman Inc.? If that's pronounced correctly?
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. What do they have? Juman was founded. A Kingsbone Family Fundraiser, June 14th through June 29th.
It's for autism.
Autism spectrum disorders, reach the majority, yeah. Okay, so it's an autism fundraiser?
It comes from Dan McIntyre,
Yep.
local
Yep.
resident who's
Yeah, he's-
one of the principals in
Sure,
this new
sure.
organization.
He's done a lot of great work with the
Right.
fundraiser
Dan does a
already.
nice job.
Outstanding.
And he's very active with this.
Definitely.
So,
So I take a motion to approve the banner request?
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next one's the use of the town common for the annual Linfield Athletic Association July 4th road race.
This is the town hall parking lot, isn't it?
Mhm. Another excellent cause that I think both of us have been involved with in the past. Chris, you too, right?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah?
So it's,
I'll take a motion to approve the use.
so moved.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next two are a little different. We have some private uses for the town common. And this is something that we don't normally see. We got a 40th anniversary party. They're looking to use the common on Saturday, August 1st, from 2 to 7. They're also going to be using the meeting house. Now, it's my impression, you don't need us to permit the use of the common if you just kind of walk outside and walk on the common.
Right.
They're asking for music and dancing out on the common, and to obviously use part of our common for private use for a 5-hour period. I'm not necessarily in favor of obviously the meeting house is fine, but I'm not in favor of using our public facilities for a private party, in particular where there's going to be music involved, and I'm sure there's going to be what they use for people, 85 people coming, so it's going to be a large party. So these are public facilities. I'm not a particular fan of ever permitting private use parties for our public facilities. I'd certainly like to hear the opinion of the other board members.
Yeah, the town has never restricted people who are using the meeting house from going out, enjoying the common. Obviously, they can't take any alcohol out on the common, but, people who go out and stroll, sit on the common. But the past practice of the board, and Bob and I have spent a lot of time looking at this and going back, the town has really never restricted the use of the common for strictly private groups. It's been nonprofit charities, things with a civic bent that are generally open to the public. Anybody can go and participate or be part of. So your past practice has been to not tie up a portion of the common or all of the common for a private event.
I'm thinking 80 people. I think that restricts the public use of the common. Correct? Where these other events in the public are invited and everybody can use the common.
I mean, they might not mind you dropping in and dancing. I don't know, but
They don't want me dancing.
yeah, me neither. Me neither. But it just as a practice, it's not been something that the town or the board has approved. The private use of all or a portion of their common.
Does anybody know why they selected this location? Is it they know someone here, or?
I believe so. I believe they either have a friend who's offering it here, or that it's for a resident. There's some connection in both cases, but
Well, it's a 40th anniversary party, and it's from a couple in North Billerica. So I don't know if
they're the organizers.
I don't know if the couple that's having the 40th anniversary lives in Linfield, but there's no description. But they can certainly walk outside and be on the common, but to have a dance floor and music out there, and any and certainly got to monitor any public drinking, and also restrict from the use of the town residents. I would not be in favor of this.
Would there be any responsibility, legal liability, that the town would incur if we would allow them to dance outside? If they were to fall or?
Generally not, because it's free. We have a exemption under the law that if it's free and open and the town's not charging, that generally you're not liable. So I wouldn't think so. It doesn't mean someone wouldn't sue us, because people sue us for everything, but I think our liability would be severely limited on something like that.
At this point, I'd have to agree with Phil. I think there's this is a little out of the norm, as you said, Jim, and I think I agree with Phil that since this is something that the board has done in the past, open up the commons to solely private use. I think I might have some trouble with that.
Chris, you got an opinion on
I agree.
Okay. I'll take a motion to deny the permit.
Make a motion to deny the permit.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we'll make sure the response is worded such that they know that they have the right to be on
Yeah.
the common,
Beyond the
enjoy the
common,
common,
use the meeting house.
but not restrict the use of the common from other people.
Right.
Mhm.
The second one is a little different. It's a meet the baby shower. Again, using the common. She talked about she did not speak to the police chief as of the date she sent this in, but she still hasn't spoken to the police chief. I spoke to him right before the meeting, and they still haven't spoken. But again, you have, they want to use the common from 3 PM to 10 PM, which seems like an awfully big time span, especially with kids. 60 to 75 people tying up an area of the common with, I guess they want to set up kids' games and have things outside.
Yep.
That would be restricted to just their group. Again, they're going to be using the meeting house, I'd assume,
Yes.
for their party. Now, they can freely use the common, I would think, for kids' games and whatnot anyways.
Yeah.
And it's just not restrict the area from anybody else walking by or coming through.
Correct. If the kids are out there running around or playing wiffle ball or throwing a frisbee, it's not any different than someone going down there and doing it on their own.
Right. So
That's one-
I wouldn't want to get in the practice of permitting the use of it, where in this case, they have the use of it already, unless they're trying to do something that's out of the ordinary. But I think having kids play games out on the common is exactly what the common's for, so I don't think we have to permit it. So again, I would not be in favor of approving a permit for this purpose.
I also had some concern with this going till 10 in the evening. If they use the commons and they set up games, and it gets dark, you can't see what you're doing out there.
Chief Breen, when I talked to him, expressed some of those same concerns about having kids out in the common running around with no lights and the traffic. So he would not be in favor of permitting the use. Again, if someone's out there playing, we're not going to send the cops over there to stop them, but at least we wouldn't be giving it our blessing.
Even if you start cleaning up at 9 o'clock, it's getting
It's
dark.
still dark by that time, yeah. Yeah.
So I take a motion to not approve this permit.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Last item we have is the May 18th minutes.
Surprised you didn't run out of ink for this meeting, Bob.
This was a long one.
We've chastised Eric already for that. Is that meeting? Was that Eric's
No, that's the
meeting?
next, that's the one after this.
Gotta get on Eric about that.
3.5 hour meeting. 3 hours.
Any comments or changes needed?
I went through it. Is there a way, this is just a question, nothing to do with these minutes, but is there a way to associate the actual tape of the meeting with the minutes so that one sort of supports the other?
I'm not following you.
Can we approve the minutes in addition to supportive visual aid being the actual taping of the selectmen meeting?
I mean, the tape is kind of the official record?
Part of the official record.
No, your minutes are your official record of the meeting, and the tape can be used, someone can go look at it, but the official minutes, the official record of the meeting are the minutes adopted by the board.
Okay.
That's what goes on the official, those are just kept in the town clerk, and 100 years from now, if someone says, what are the minutes? That's the official
Any questions on the minutes, Chris?
None?
No? I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Well, that's the end of the agenda. I just want to congratulate all the 2015 Linfield High School graduates.
Absolutely.
You know, they got a wonderful day, and I tell you, we're very proud of them, so congratulations.
I wish the same. I also want to thank the auditors for coming in for the last selectmen meeting. They got to answer quite a few questions from the board and from a lot of the people that came in, so it might have gone a little longer than what they anticipated, but it was awfully nice of them to come in and help us out like that. It's awfully good.
Mr. Chairman, just to mention, the board will be meeting on the 24th at the Merit Center on the beta traffic study, if people are interested. And that meeting will be televised, so people shouldn't feel like they have to go down there. They can watch it on TV.
Thank you, Jim. With all that said, you have any thank yous? All set?
Nothing at all. Thank you for everybody coming tonight. Thank you.
All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
So no bouncies on the common.